Megapixels aren't everything. On the left-hand side, you're seeing footage from the iPhone 17 Pro's brand new telephoto lens, and from the 16 Pro on the right. I'm Becca, I take tech outside, and I'm hoping that you can help me distinguish between these two lenses. Ooh, what's this? Ooh, look at this spooky ghost I just found. So something that Apple was very proud to tout at this year's iPhone event was the fact that
on the rear, all three cameras are 48 megapixels for the very first time.
I love symmetry, so I love this, but what Apple could have said is finally our telephoto lens specs, they look good on paper. Because hardware-wise, the iPhone 17 Pro has a 48 megapixel 4x telephoto lens, up from just a 12 megapixel 5x tele on the 16 Pro. You see, the thing is, Apple did a damn good job of making all 12 of these megapixels shine, so when you put it head-to-head with the iPhone 17 Pro, well, it can be hard to spot a difference. Even when you digitally zoom into 8x on the 16 Pro, which the 17 Pro can quote-unquote optically do by cropping the 48 megapixel sensor down to 24 megapixels. Yeah, I'm not bummed about any of this. I thought the tele shots on the 16 Pro were solid, and they're solid here too. Sometimes you zoom into the far reaches of photo and it is clear that you're getting way more detail. But at night, this lens can still whiff. So yeah, improvements if you're gonna zoom way into the frame, but I'm not entirely sure the average user is gonna notice. What I am bummed about is that Apple is still using the main lens sometimes instead of the telephoto lens when shooting video. And you can tell when it does this. I mean, look at how noisy these flowers are. And this is in broad daylight. Now, this decision used to make some bit of sense because the main sensor had more megapixels, it was larger, it had a wider f-stop, but now the telephoto lens is a 48 megapixel f2.8 lens. I mean, just let me use that one, or at least let me choose which one I want to use. All right, folks, welcome back to my 1000 photo series, where I really get to live in with the device to see how it performs in the real world while doing real people stuff. Oh, no, thank you. Like I said, the first thing I noticed was the telephoto not performing terribly differently. But the second thing I noticed was this 18 megapixel selfie cam, whose video almost rivals that of the main lens. Inside the front of this phone is now a square 18 megapixel sensor that allows for both vertical and horizontal shooting without needing to rotate your wrist. So when you first open the camera, it will be in landscape mode or cropped this way, and then you hit this little toggle down here, crops the sensor horizontally, puts it in a landscape mode, and you're able to get more into your frame. It's certainly a bit sharper than the iPhone 16 Pro. And when compared to the front-facing cameras of its rivals, well, I'm gonna let you guys be the judge of this one. Who do you think has the best front-facing camera? Let me know down in the comments. You know, while we're at it, let's compare those cameras around back too. I gotta give credit where credit is due. The S25 Ultra is the most consistent when it comes to brightness levels and saturation levels. It also has the closest focusing distance on the main lens. I'll talk more about that in a bit though. The iPhone, on the other hand, is no longer afraid of shadows, but can often skew skin tones warm, especially if there's not a face in the frame. And then the Pixel, well, the Pixel's always the brightest. But generally, I've found that you really gotta go looking for these differences. Most of the time, you're gonna get a great image out of any of these cameras. Except when it comes to video. I found that I still much prefer the iPhone's look for this, so let's put it to work. What you're about to watch is the sponsored segment of this video. I shot it entirely on the iPhone, even the voiceover is done into the iPhone, so give it a watch, and we'll talk about it after it's over. All right, here goes nothing. So last year I quit TVs and I opted into projector life. Welcome to my 100-inch home theater. All thanks to XGME and this guy, the Horizon 20 Max. Now the first thing people always say when I tell them that I did this is like, oh, well that means that you can't watch TV during the day, right? Wrong. Daylight, outside, windows, wide open, movie time, inside. That's because this projector is capable of up to 5,700 lumens. That's like venue level brightness. It also offers a 20,000 to 1 contrast ratio and lens shift plus optical zoom-in capabilities. That means that you don't have to mount this projector in a specific place. You have optical control over where your image is. Not to mention the Harman Kardon speakers on this thing are amazing. You might notice that I have a Sonos Beam over here from when I was a standard TV person. I haven't even bothered to plug it in because I simply don't need to. But if I did, this projector's got ports for days. So if you've been projector curious, what are you waiting for? Dive in. Truly, the weather is great, no regrets. And be sure to check out XGME's products. There's a link down in my bio. I also have the Mogo 4 Pro that I use outside by the bonfire and impress all of my friends with. I'm a full-blown projector girly now. Thank you, XGME, for sponsoring this video. Now back to the show. How'd this iPhone do? A projector could be very tough to film, which is why I love using it as a test. There's an incredibly high contrast between the image and the room, but the iPhone handled that very well. As soon as I took it outside though, and there wasn't a ton of light, that's when it fell flat. Small sensors, like the ones on our phone, they can handle bright light really well. It's when you get into low light environments that you're gonna see a lot more grain. The good news is, I think the iPhone 17 Pro handles this the best out of the big three here in the US, which is Google and Samsung. What this system can't escape though are those lens reflections. My God, Apple, please. But while we're talking video, I want to point out the action mode. It slightly crops your image and caps resolution at 2.8K in exchange for more stabilization, and it pairs really well with the telephoto lens. But man, do I wish Apple would allow for 4K filming in this mode. Oh, and it's worth noting that you need a lot of light in order to use this feature. Even at dusk, the phone won't allow it. Alright, let's talk about hardware, because during the Apple event they showed this commercial. It's the iPhone 17 Pro getting absolutely battered. And of course, it looks perfect through it all, which could not be further from what I've experienced. This is my iPhone after only a week and a half of using it. She is dinged up. And this is my Z Fold 7 that I've been using since early July, all without a case. And there is certainly somewhere to show, but it is nothing compared to the dings of this iPhone that I've been using for a fraction of the time. Now pony up. This thing has taken a couple of falls. It took a good one off my nightstand, which my Z Fold 7 has taken many, and it also fell screen side down onto some pavement, which shout out to Ceramic Shield 2 because there's no signs of wear from that. And some of you may say, well Becca, you're probably just rough on all your devices, but none of my other devices look this bad, especially after only a week and a half. I also need to talk about this colorway. Dieter Bohn, you once told me to always buy the unique color because you won't get it again next year, so I bought orange, and I'm learning that I just don't like the color orange. So, based on all of the above, there will be a case going on this thing. Another con to the system is the minimal focus distance of the main lens. As soon as you get within maybe a foot of an object, the camera's gonna switch to the macro lens, which isn't as large of a sensor and therefore doesn't create as sharp of an image or as nice of a focus fall off. You can, of course, turn macro mode off, which will default you back to the main lens, but then you have to back up to get your shot. The S25 Ultra, on the other hand, its main lens has a much closer focusing distance. So let me just show you what you could have, Apple. Dang, look at that focus fall off. That ain't so bad. Here's a couple more examples of how close you could be with the S25 Ultra, and how far back you have to go to get that same focus on the iPhone. One more in case you weren't convinced. Alright, those are the main things I have noticed while taking 1,000 photos with the iPhone 17 Pro. I realize I haven't talked about just photos from the main lens yet, and that's because they're iPhone photos. The high quality we've come to expect, but those beautiful reflections at night that we know and love. And then here are some honorable camera mentions that aren't worthy of entire sections, but notable nonetheless. First, liquid glass. It's cool simply because it feels sort of different than any OS before. On the camera front, that means death to this terrible arrow button that truly hid deeper settings. We replaced with this easy to see menu button. I love it. There's a circle viewing window instead of a square, and the shooting modes are below the shutter button now. Second, internal ProRes RAW filming abilities, which is totally bananas for a device this size, and also the reason why there's now a 2 terabyte storage option with this phone. I've already seen so many stylized YouTube videos using this, and some even uploading in the 4:3 ratio, which employs OpenGate filming abilities. And lastly, there's this sort of picture-in-picture recording setting. I can like move myself around in the frame. I haven't really found a need for this, but look at how beautiful the creek is right now. Stunning. I have seen a lot of people using this on my feeds, which any feature that gets people making stuff, that's a 10 for me, dog. I also need to mention that there has been some bugginess in this system. There's times that the screen freezes, and then there was this weird jitter to the telephoto preview. There are certainly some software kinks to work out. Over 1,000 unique photos and videos, all taken with the iPhone 17 Pro. I'm gonna go lay down now, but you let me know what you think of this device, what you thought of this video down in the comments. I'll see you there. As always, I appreciate you so much, bud. If you like this, subscribe to me in the world, but more so than that, I just hope to see you back here for the next one. Be well, bud. Woo-wee! This one kind of killed me.